Hey guys, it's Chelsa Messenger with Picks and Parlays. We're talking NBA action. It's finally back after a little bit of a break for the All-Star weekend. We've got the Celtics and the Nets going head to head. We've got a promo code. The code is MAD for 20% off the entire site at picksandparlays.net. Brooklyn home favorites here, -2.5, total of 234.5. We've got the Nets coming in at 24-13, 20-17 against the number. Meanwhile, the Celtics 19-17, 17-19 against the spread. Now, the Nets will look a little bit different. Blake Griffin acquired over the break. He will not be making his Nets debut in this one, though. Kevin Durant still out. So not full strength for the Nets, but they've been pretty solid even without Durant, because obviously they've got some pretty good players on that squad with James Harden and Kyrie. We've got Dan Kaiser joining us to break this one all down for us. Dan, what stands out to you about these two teams going into the second half of the season?
To me, what kind of stands out is just like I can't get a good read of either team because both teams have been suffering injuries. Like you said, Durant's been out. I mean, I think Durant, Harden, and Irving have only played like 7 games combined together. So, still don't know what it's going to be like when all three are on the court for a long period of time together. And now you're throwing Blake Griffin in the mix. I know he's not the all-star he used to be, but he was still a pretty potent offensive player for the Pistons. So, until you can see how this all mixes together for the long term, it's going to be interesting. But, short term, you don't need more than Harden and Irving. I mean, as you can see, because they're like, what you said, 24-13. Boston, before the break, they won 4 straight. They're starting to, I think they finally started to get things together. I like the way Tatum and Brown are playing. I wish Smart was playing. Again, the key defender for them. So, again, you don't get a real true feeling of how Boston is. Kemba Walker, he's been hit or miss, hot and cold all year. So I look at this. I'm right now. I'm going to take what I know is the pretty much more sure known commodity, and that is the Nuts. I just think Harden and Irving, they both could go for 30, or one will go for 40 and the other will go for 20. I think you got 2 proven scorers there. I think I just like the Nets team a little bit more overall right now, the way they're playing. So I'm gonna lay the 2.5 and take the Nets in this one.
Just one small note. I believe Marcus Smart is probable for this game, so he may be back in the lineup for the Celtics. But as you mentioned, it's just so much offensive firepower for the Nets, even without Kevin Durant, and which is why this team's been super hot to the over this season. 25-12 to the over. The Nets are this year 12-7 to the over at home. So any leanings on a total of 234.5.
Well, my first thought was to lean over because you got the number 1 scoring offense in the Nets, but they don't like to play defense for, all that often. But I guess but it's coming off an All-Star break. It might take them a little time to get back in the flow, and it is the NBA. And as you said, Griffin's not playing in this game because of a knee management. He's already been off for a week. So I don't know. I can see maybe Irving or Harden maybe sitting this one because they, didn't sleep well in the hotel over the All-Star weekend. So until I knew who was actually going to play in this game, I'm just leaning the under and see what happens.
Right. And the Celtics, going back to, looking at the spread, the Celtics have not been very good on the road. They're 0-6 against the number in their last 6 games on the road. 7-12 away, just straight up, as opposed to 12-5 at home. So another aspect to kind of bring into the picture. And also, coming off a break, they don't get to start at home, opposed to the Nets, who are sleeping in their own beds. And I don't know if that makes a difference. Maybe it does. Anything else you think better should know before, I start rambling about something else?
No, I just think, again, it's like, I think it's pretty much like the NBA season since it started. Just make sure you keep looking at, if you're not betting early, if you're waiting closer to game time, just, look at not the injury reports or who's active and who's inactive, because, that could sway a decision one way or the other.
Yeah, sometimes there's some surprises in there too, because we see the ones that are probable and questionable, but then occasionally you'll see one that wasn't even mentioned on that. So you need to be aware, especially when it comes to the COVID stuff, because we've seen the Sixers with Simmons and Embiid both on the COVID list. So just handicapping in the year 2021, always a good time. Always got to be on your toes. And that's why we have the best in the business helping us out. Dan Kaiser, Thanks for your insight and thanks for joining us on Picks and Parlays.